Well, first, it's an exciting time. I always say that, and like always, I want to just start by saying hi to my kids and my wife. I appreciate them, but no, I'm really excited about our season. It's right around the corner, and as you go to around campus here, you can feel the energy and the buzz, and the student body's back, and they're excited about being back in football season. I drove downtown yesterday on my way home, and I got here in December, so I didn't get to see all the hoopla of kind of the opening of school, and to see the student body there kind of gives you a new energy and a new excitement for the season, which was awesome to see. But no, fall camp, it ends on Tuesday, and we had a scrimmage last night where we really got to kind of put a cap to it and see who we are as a football team, which was great. The kids have worked extremely, extremely hard. We talked about, we wanted to be a tougher football team. That was our whole mindset going into fall camp, and I definitely believe we are. And it started with handling what we talked about the first press conference, those 3 C's, being able to understand the challenge that it takes to be a champion and to play championship football, and then having the control that you need as well, which control yourself, you control your opponent, and then being able to stay committed to the process. And they did that all through fall camp, and we're a better football team for it, for sure. Are we there yet? No, but we still got a little bit before we play that first game against UCF, but I'm really excited about our team, and we're healthy right now. We had no season-ending injuries during fall camp, which is good, and the guys are excited, and I think they're sick of hitting each other, but we're definitely moving in the right direction as a football program. Some guys that stood out in fall camp, for sure. Gavin Garcia, he is a heck of a football player. I said that before. He's definitely one of our most dominant players on offense. Him and X, I'm really excited about those two kids and what they've done along with Kai Thomas. And then, when you look up front, Jimto, transfer from Temple, offensive lineman, was a guy who had a great fall camp as well, and really, I think, solidified himself as one of the guys that'll be starting up front at that left or right tackle spot. And we turn to the defense side of the ball. I think our defensive line, I've been really impressed with them all fall camp. They've grown even closer, and they're playing more explosive than I thought they even could. So that's led by CJ West, who had a great fall camp. He's 100% healthy. He's leading that thing and taking charge. And then you look at Stephen Daly, another guy who I just think has such a bright future. He got so much better from the start of spring ball till now. I think he's a dominant player, him along with Oliver Billick as well. So excited about our defensive line and what they're doing up to this point. And then Caleb Johns in the middle. He's healthy. He's playing good football as well. And DJ Miller on the back end, another guy who had a great fall camp and has got me excited about the season as well. So a lot of guys had growth through fall camps. Those guys definitely stood out and really took the advantage of the repetitions that they were getting to become the best football player they could possibly be. But no, we shift now into UCF, and we'll start focusing on UCF more here as we get rolling to this season. But we're excited and excited about the development of our football team.
Again, if you guys have got questions, place them in the chat. We do have a couple that have come through already. Just talk a little bit about some of the camp battles. I know there's some big questions that you had kind of going in.
Yeah.
As you kind of look through that depth chart, what were some of the positions that you were really pleased in on the camp battles that kind of emerged throughout the season?
Yeah, I think that I'll start at running back. I think Gavin Garcia solidified himself as our starter. It's like 1A, 1B, 1C. As I say, with Gavin, X, and Kai, they're all going to play a lot of football. I always learn coaching running backs. You need a pair and a spare, to get through a season for sure. And then at quarterback, I am going to announce our quarterback, Mike Alayo, as our starting quarterback, the transfer from Purdue. He had a great fall camp, and he solidified himself as our starter. And Tommy will be our backup. Tommy Ursulowski will be our backup quarterback as well, and he had a great fall camp. And it literally came down to yesterday's scrimmage. Those guys battled out yesterday, put them in different situation, and Mike came out on top of that scrimmage, and we're excited about him. So we'll start putting him in positions to lead our offense and to get us ready for the season. So that was 2 big battles that I think took place and that got kind of solidified for sure.
Obviously, your first fall camp as a head coach, what was kind of the toughest thing or the most surprising thing for you that you learned going through this as for the first time?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing I learned is that you're never going to walk off the field happy. When the defense has a really good practice, you're worried about, okay, what's wrong on offense? When the offense has a really good practice, well, hold on, what happened on defense? So you're always mixed emotions. How you want to, I guess you just don't want one side to dominate the whole camp, which we didn't have that. It was great back and forth. And like I said, I know our football team got better because of it. So that's probably the biggest thing, that you're always walking off the field wondering, like, oh man, how do I fix this or fix that on whichever side of the ball it is.
you guys named number of captains this
Yeah.
year. Talk about that process as you went through naming the captains, and what were you looking for in each of those individuals? Was it something that they showed in camp, or were there some other intangibles that came?
Yeah, so when I first got here, we created a leadership council, and the team voted on that, and that was 4 guys from each class that was going to be a part of that leadership team. And I meet with those guys probably once every 10 days to talk about our team, our progress, and then meet about just leadership and how you develop leaders with those guys. And what we did is within that leadership council, we voted for 8 guys who would be our single digits, and those guys would be our captains for our football team. And those are the guys that won that out. And that vote was really among the coaches, what we saw as a coaching staff. The players voted for leadership council, and the coaches voted for the captains within that leadership council. And those guys had qualities that weren't just football qualities. They did things off the field that was really special. If it's, going to class, getting good grades, being great students, appreciating community service and that type of stuff as well, and putting their foot in that, and then also being leaders on the field and off the field. So I'm excited about that group. They're kind of for me, it's special because they're the first Kent Grit captains and leaders, and I'm just excited about them, and total honor to them. They earned it. That was nothing that we did. They earned those rights, and they got the respect of their team and their coaches to sit in the chair they're in now.
Guys, obviously camp is about getting better on the field, but talk about some of the activities you guys did off the field, because to me, that also leads a lot to kind of bond and develop as a cohesive unit.
Yeah, we talked about connectivity. I wanted to connect our team and make them a closer team and get them playing for each other. And the only way I know how to play for each other is getting to know each other. So we did different things throughout fall camps. If it's movies, if it's water parks, if it's going to the Guardians game, we were just trying to get them in situations where they connect with each other and spend time away from football with each other, which I think is extremely important for your football team, definitely with the landscape of college football right now. I think it's harder to transfer if you have tons of buddies on the team that you're playing with and that you're going through college experience with. So we did that, and it was great. The guys loved it. They were totally appreciative for it. Give credit to our DFO, Kay Bashir. She did a great job setting all this stuff up, and the guys, like I said, they loved it, and it was great to see them bond off the field.
How key were those kind of moments, considering this is the first Kent Grit team? This is, like you said, a lot of new faces, both on the staff and in the locker room.
Yeah, it's really important. I think it's extremely important because, again, you've got guys who are freshmen. You've got guys who were sophomores. They're now starters. You've got guys out the transfer portal. These guys don't know each other very well. It's a new team. We have 11 new starters on offense. They've got to be able to have a bond off the field that when they look each other in the eye on the field, it's something that's deeper than just that play, that moment, that situation. So it was huge. And I knew that. And I learned that from PJ back at Minnesota when we first got there, just creating a culture of connectivity. People always talk about culture, and what is it? I think it's truly connecting people and getting them all to buy into one belief, one system, and one lifestyle.
You mentioned the 11 new starters on offense. Talk a little bit about some of the other battles. You mentioned quarterback, you mentioned running back, but some of the other pieces that we can look forward to seeing on the 31st.
I think some of the other pieces are still being worked out. I think we're going to take some of those all the way up to game time. Definitely, I think our front 5 up front. I think we're working through that right now. We're probably rotating 7 or 8 guys with the one group and trying to find the most cohesive 5. I think when you look at tight end, I think that's a battle that's still going on as well between Junk and Holmesy. Then receiver, we're going to use a lot of people. I'll just leave it at that. A lot of guys have stood out, made plays. I think the biggest thing there is the consistency. I think Luke Foria is extremely consistent. He's probably the one that you're going to see a lot of, and I think Mr. McCray had a great fall camp as well. But then outside of that, I think it's kind of who can put consistent days together, and we're still kind of waiting for that. But I think solidifying the quarterback, getting the quarterback named, and getting guys around that guy will help that for sure. But I think some of the other battles are just still ongoing, and we're looking to finalize those over the next couple of days.
No camp's not finished yet, but if you had to sum up what you've learned the most about this team over the last few weeks, what would that be?
I've learned that they're a gritty team now. No, they've got some fight to them. And I told him that yesterday was our scrimmage, and it was kind of the end of really the fall camp mode before we shift to UCF. And I said to him, the one thing I've learned about this team is that you guys got some fight. You got some fight, you got some punch, and you're not going to just sit there and take it. You're gonna be able to fight back, and really, when you look at all our games from last year, I think that's one thing that we were missing: an ability to when things got hard, when adversity hit, to fight through it a little bit and get your way out of it and learn how to respond. And I think they've got that now, and I think that's a big step for our program. And I don't know if it's going to equal wins and losses, but I know if we keep doing that, it eventually will lead to championship caliber football.
You mentioned obviously the captains, but have there been people that have kind of stood out? They've been a kind of a vocal leader, whether it be on the field or in the locker room, that you've been impressed with over this camp, that maybe not be a single digit, but a guy that you're going to lean on a little bit to help drive home a message or pump a team up if need be?
Yeah, I think you look at your CJ West's and your Caleb's; those are your big vocal leaders on your football team, and they lead not just by vocal, but how they go about their business. But then you look at a guy like Bryce Shepard. He had a great fall camp. He was a kid that I think stood out. He's definitely worked his way into a potential starting role. He was extremely consistent, but he plays with such an energy and fire and passion that you want. And I think people respect how he goes about his business. So he's a guy that I've kind of leaned on a little bit more to be more of a vocal leader as well. And then you look at a guy like Devin Nicholson, who's done a great job just since he's been here, is just buying into what we're doing, developing, putting his head down and working. He's played in the SEC. He knows what winning football looks like. And just to see his development and growth, I think now that he's grown in our system, now he feels like he's in a position to be a leader as well. But there's guys, and like Gavin Garcia, I'm going to keep talking about Gavin because I think Gavin is the epitome of what I look for in a football player, with how he goes about his business, how he leads, how he's just day in and day out consistently a worker. He's got just those qualities and traits that you want your whole team to have. So you put those guys on pedestals, you put them in positions to lead, you praise the model. You just hope everybody else learns and kind of gravitates to them.
We've talked two sides of the ball. Let's talk a little bit about the special team. I know you try to simulate high pressure circumstances, the under pressure situations. Just talk about how that unit has come together over.
Yeah, I think the special teams are still a work in progress. I think we're getting better. I think we right now we've got a lot of starters on our special teams units, which I'm fine with. I love that. I think that when you can do that, you've got a situation where your best players are impacting the game and the kick game, which is what you want. I think Mr. Glass has done a great job as our kicker. He had a great fall camp, and we're going to be great there. I think we're still working through some things at long snapper. With Gus, he's really consistent, but he had a little bit of a tweak in fall camp. So getting a backup long snapper is something we're looking forward to or looking at. But overall, the kick game is, I think, right where it needs to be. We're going to keep progressing. I think I probably overkicked him a little bit in fall camp just to see where we are and put him in some pressure situations. And right now, I think I've got to pull back a little bit to get those guys ready for game.
All right, last question from the group here. Obviously, the last couple of days before you said you turned to UCF mode, what are the kind of the final things you're looking for out of this team as we wrap up?
We have a mock game on Tuesday, which we'll go through. We'll simulate a true game, and it'll be from the pregame to where you stand in the locker rooms, where you sideline management, all that stuff. I think right now we've got to dot our I's and cross our T's and make sure that logistically we're ready to roll. I think the one big thing I learned yesterday at scrimmage is we're a more disciplined football team. The first scrimmage, we had all these penalties, procedure penalties, aggressive penalties, guys going up for balls. I think yesterday you saw it. We had maybe one or two penalties the whole day, which was awesome to see. The guys took the information and learned. And now I think it's just putting the final touches onto it, and making sure we don't have anything that slows us down. We get to kick off. And that's what I'm looking for the next 2 days here as we get to that mock game. Just, again, sideline management, organization, making sure you have the right 11 on the field, making sure they're playing together, making sure you put in every situation you possibly can out there so there's nothing that's a surprise, from backed up to coming out to green zone to punting out of your end zone, all those little things that come up within a game, onside kicks, hands team. So that's what you're going to see over the next couple of days here, us putting those things on film and really getting that ironed out.
All right, Coach, any final thoughts as we wrap this up?
No, like I said, excited about the season. I appreciate everybody's following us and the coverage that we get. these kids, like I said, have worked extremely hard. You should be proud of them, and I know they're ready to hit someone that's not in the same jersey as they're in. So you're looking forward to that. But no, good luck to all the other teams that are playing as well. They're starting off the soccer season and volleyball and stuff like that. But we'll be supporting as a football team with them as well in our athletic department. But exciting, like I said, the student body. I know we got something tonight. We're talking to the freshmen, but the student body is alive and well, and that makes you always feel like college football is back. And I know, like I said, it went downtown yesterday, and guys asking about the season and where the team's at, and excited about the Kent Grid era. And I think that's good. So cheer these guys on, cheer them on loud, and go Flashes and Kent Grid.